Tabletop and everybody, thank you all for joining for episode 40 of
Are we live?
Death
You
Attack.
gave us no warning on that one.
Yeah,
Are we live?
1000%.
Look, we're live.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, hey.
Hey guys,
What's up?
welcome.
There was no countdown.
You here? No, I didn't give you a countdown. I just honestly didn't think it was going to switch over with both cameras showing. It's weird. Sometimes it decides that it's going to do both of them. Sometimes it doesn't.
Well, thankfully, we weren't doing one of our regular conversations.
In space, no one can hear you in space.
But it's a pretty. We're hitting another big numerical number here in our Death Attack series. So you guys know what that means?
Ready to save Traveler?
No. What?
Wait, hold on. What's the question? I don't understand the
Ready
question.
to roll Traveler? No.
Prepare to roll, Traveler.
It's safe. Prepare to
Save Traveler?
Actually, I don't think any of us know what it is.
Nope.
Actually, I don't think you've said it in a while.
I have. It's,
We didn't play last week.
Save to roll Traveler.
Right? We didn't play
Challenger?
No, we didn't play last week.
roll to save,
Yeah,
Traveler.
I feel like I said that.
This is a
Death
Death Attack.
I fucking had it the first time.
I'm pretty sure I said
I
that.
did.
I'm pretty
That's
sure we all
all
said
it does.
That's
All it does
Traveler.
is reconfirm that you don't listen to anything I'm saying.
What did you say?
Beautiful, beautiful.
that. Oh, you think he's
So,
beautiful?
because of that, why don't we go ahead and do a little recap on the last episode? And do not bring up the crab revolution, because I think that's the one thing you guys will all remember thanks to our captain here.
Why shouldn't we bring that up if that's important?
Wait, what?
Aside from that,
I'm stuck.
why is it making that noise? Ew. Ew.
It's just water in a bottle, guys. It's not that interesting. Back on track here.
Aside from that, it's almost a total party split for Lavender, who is a giant mushroom.
No,
now.
he
it
even
isn't.
further party split. Like,
I'm on a different
completely
plane.
exiting the plane.
I'm in a different plane, bro.
I thought that happened in the same plane. That's total party split.
It is. Who's all with everybody as far as the crew goes, though? Who specifically is with Kaz?
I have Claudia and Mox.
I think you have one other person with you.
One.
Twinkle toes.
Tencel?
He said he can't swim, so he wasn't going with
Yeah,
me.
that's right.
I don't remember his name though.
I think there's a.
I think that's it.
That's it.
No.
I thought Hakan was with you too.
No, Hakan,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure is with.
So the rest of the group would be then with Captain Jezebel and now her new revolution.
Revolution.
With that Talik apparently needs to be. Then we have Fulner, all by his lonesome. And anything, you're the one that's the most at danger, really.
Come on.
All by yourself, inside of a giant whale.
Maybe everyone else is in danger.
Oh, you're
I'm
not
in
trapped in there with
them.
them. They're trapped in there with you.
Exactly.
Oh god, it's turning into.
Okay, all right, let's do this, Rorschach.
Yeah, right. Fulner turns into Rorschach.
Now,
Shitty Batman.
for the, I mean, let's be honest, he is a shitty Batman.
Yeah, he's not supposed to be a good guy. That's for sure.
No, not at all. So, we don't have an intro, but when we do get an intro, that's when we'll pick up
Which
the.
is in the works, possibly.
It is possibly in the
Something
works.
that we're working on
It is
right
possibly
now.
in the works.
Oh, yeah.
But
Forgot about that.
we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pick some storytelling off right where we left somebody off. Our favorite mushroom boy.
I hate that.
All right.
I'm here.
Lavender. As you emerge into the Feywild, you don't find yourself obviously inside of a giant beast. You find yourself in a meadow. It looks like a mix between tall grass and lower plains. You see strange blooming flowers. Inside the flowers, you can actually see waterfalls appear to be pouring out of the center, off the petals down onto the ground. Small little serpentine-like streams scatter all throughout the field, and the sound of water constantly running fills your ears. As you look up to the sky, you can see there is a bright blue sun. It is tinting everything with this very light, very pale light. It's not like blue, as in like a solid color. Think of it more like a fluorescent light.
Yeah.
It's just a very intense pale light. You also notice up in the sky something else. Something contrasted. At first, you thought maybe it was actually something in your eye. There was something wrong with your vision. But it appears to be a solid black dot in the sky. And as you stare at it, it actually hurts your eyes to look. You have to move your eyes away as it begins to burn and bake. You realize it's a sun, but it looks like a black sun. So you look down at your form, and you are still very much a myconoid.
Before I do anything, I'm immediately going to try to open a portal to get back, because this is not where I want to be right now.
Okay. What are you going to cast to do that?
I'm going to use... I'm going to look around. Is there any trees around? Any...
There is wildlife and foliage all around you.
Okay, I'm going to go up to the nearest tree that I see, and I'm going to be like, let me back, and then like do the thing that Motan showed me again. I'm going to try to do that again.
Okay. As you go and you do this, you realize that you cannot open a portal. Nothing appears to be working.
This is not good. This is not good. I'm going to look around. Is there anything that seems familiar? Any, like, I don't know if I've ever
You can either give me a perception or a survival check. I'll give you advantage on survival.
You said advantage on survival? Mm-hmm. 28.
28?
Yeah.
Okay. You look around and you can actually make out what looks like a few little deer trails. These are clearly used by wildlife, animals. Looks like it moves away from these streams and it looks like it goes deeper into the woods. You're not quite sure of your exact location, but you're fairly certain you can recognize the area. You are starting to realize that you must not be in the Feywild where you actually entered. Because if you did, you should be in the ocean.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to... Can I follow those tracks? Like, I want to follow them, like, cautiously, because I don't know exactly where I am.
Yeah, you sure can. Looks like you follow the trail, and it does lead you further into the woods. When you get into the woods, you can start to hear the sounds of wildlife. Small animals, birds. There's actually a large flock of what look like hawks at first. But as you look at their wings, as they stretch their wings out and they raise them up, you actually see what looks like translucent rainbow-like spider webs that go from their elbow down to their body, almost like some of Spider-Man's costumes. You notice as they raise that up, they touch their wings, and you watch as tiny little insects fly into their webbing as a large tongue kind of whips out and snatches these bugs. These are animals you have seen before in the Feywild. It's nothing to be alarmed of. Typical wildlife. However, it is a dead giveaway for you now that you are actually fairly close to the Eladrin capital city. This is an area where you sort of tried not to get too close to. After you fled the city when you were a young boy, you never really returned.
Since it's the only thing that I have to really go off of, I'm going to move closer to the city.
Okay. This takes you probably about 20 minutes of trekking through the wilderness, making your way through the brush. Eventually, you manage to get to the very outskirts of the city. This is where the outskirts of the city is notorious for having an orchard of floating trees. The trees tend to levitate probably about 10, 15 feet off the ground, and the roots grow all the way from the air down into the ground. And they create these clusters of knots and roots that create these small little spherical domes of knotted roots. People have burrowed and hollowed out, and they actually use as the foundation for their homes. You can actually see from where you're at now, just on the outskirts of it, life. You see civilization. You see farmers out in their fields. You see people hard at work.
I'm going to move further in, kind of still cautiously, because it's not exactly where he wants to be. He's only doing this because he doesn't have anywhere to go.
Okay. What would you like to do?
I'm not going to try to sneak by any means, but I'm just going to kind of try to look like I belong.
So you're just gonna walk straight in like you own the place.
Not like I own the place, but like try to kind of, I guess sneak is, like in Assassin's Creed where you get up with other people.
Incognito.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
You are a giant mushroom.
I didn't know if there was other people like that.
You do not see other giant mushrooms. You see a Lodrin. You see what looks like they are an elven race. However, their pigment of their skin, their hair, their clothing, it reflects a time of the year. So you know that there are spring Eladrin and fall Eladrin, summer Eladrin and winter Eladrin. Typically, most Eladrin follow the natural seasonal cycle, if they're on the material plane. However, in the Feywild, their mood, their emotions, their personality, what type of person they are, can drastically affect how they look. So you see all sorts. You see fall, you see all the seasons.
I want to go up to somebody who is clearly spring, because I believe they would be a little bit more open, but not like super aggressive like a summer would be.
All right. So as you walk and make your approach, and you've noticed that at this point now, the fungus, your mushroom cap on your head, has started to grow a nice rim of fur and fuzz. You can see that there's strands that seem to be pulling down from the underneath. You have a relatively purple and red looking cap on top of your head. Your body is typically brown with streaks of what look like pale white. As you approach, you notice that it appears to be a farmer who's working in his field. You notice he's running, using a hoe and digging out trenches. And as he's moving, you notice he hears your footsteps. He stops, turns his head.
Hi, hello.
Well, top of the morning to you. How are you?
I could be better. I'm kind of lost. Do you know anybody named Motan by chance, or maybe Vicka? Does those names sound familiar to you?
Sets his hoe down on the ground. You notice he kind of takes his arm and leans on it. Oh, so you're looking for Mothon?
Yeah. Those are the only people that I really know here.
Strange. I've never seen a Mykonoi that's a friend of the, one of the royal scries.
Is that what they call me? Is this what this thing is? I don't usually look like this.
Oh, that's where you're from, right? The Underdark?
I'm from a lot of different places, I think.
Ah, you're vague.
Yeah.
I like vague. So tell me, why are you here?
Right now, I don't really know. I just kind of, poof, here I am. Hello.
Oh, now you're a little too vague. All right,
I was in, do you want the truth? Because I can tell you the truth, but you might not believe it.
Well, that depends. Which one's more interesting?
Well, I was in the belly of a whale, and then I came here. I got swallowed on a ship.
And that's the truth.
That is, as far as I know, that is the truth. It's not my first time here, but I haven't been here in a long time either.
Well, what can I say? I enjoyed the story well enough. Actually, you're sort of in luck. Mothon typically comes around this time of, every once in a while. Usually comes and grabs some, fresh produce.
So do I just wait here, or where should I wait?
Wait! No! There's no waiting on my field. You can work while he's, deciding to come or come again. Who knows?
I have no problem. Don't have anything else to do while I'm here, so
Here you go.
I'm gonna grab, I don't know.
Take this trudge.
Okay. Then, where do you want me to do this?
Well, if you look right here on the ground, you'll see some lines that I've moved through the field.
Okay.
You go in a line,
Okay, I'll do that then, and I'll go.
and then go until you see grass, and then you stop.
And then you do it again?
No,
Oh, just...
then you're done.
Oh, that should be easy.
Very easy, just time consuming. Well, go on, get to it.
Okay, then I'll go and I'll start doing the thing.
You notice that as you start doing his work, he moves over to a tree just outside of off the field. He sits down. You notice he puts his hands behind his head. And he just kind of, you notice he kind of passes out as you're
Imagine,
God.
imagine a giant mushroom been gardening.
as you're starting to hoe out this field. About an hour passes, and you finally get done with the field. And as you get done with the field, you notice that an individual comes approaching. It looks like a rather elderly-looking Eladrin. This Eladrin can change their appearance to look more withered during certain seasons. For example, during fall or winter, an Eladrin can look relatively old, while during spring and summer, they look actually kind of young. You see this rather hunched over old Eladrin making his way over to the field. You notice he grabs what looks like these long, dead blades of grass growing from his chin. He stops and looks at you, then looks over towards the tree, walks over. So I suppose you're, working on my field?
I don't know, maybe I'm just waiting here. He told me to do this.
Yeah, I grabbed that.
Did I at least do a pretty decent job? He told me to dig holes, that's what I did.
Tell you what, we'll see how well you did. Go ahead and give me a performance check. Or nature check, whichever one you want.
Oh, that's just a 9.
Okay. They could be straighter. They're a little crooked. But
I'll
you,
chalk it up to not being used to my body.
you didn't like mess it up. You didn't dig a hole straight down or anything like that. But other than that, there's room for improvement. After he grabs the hoe from you, you notice he makes his way over to the individual in the tree who's currently sawing logs, and you see him pick the hoe up, and he, with the backside of it, bonks it on top of his head. Aye! Oh, God bless. Oh, you're back already. Aye. Well, look at that. I already got the field done. You tricked the boy into doing it, didn't you? I mean, I didn't trick him. I just merely suggested it. Why does it have to be trickery? That sounds like more of a negative thing. You have another field to do. Come on, get to it. All right, fine. Hi. Good work. Saved me half a day.
I'm glad to help.
As he starts walking away, and the old man looks towards you. Where you are? What you doing here for?
I don't really have anywhere else to go. Sorry about all that, by the way. I didn't know that this was not his.
Filion is a troublemaker.
But this is the only place that looked like it had people, and I only know 2 people in the Feywild, Vikith and Mothon.
I know one of those names. Mothon.
Yeah. What did you say his name was? The guy that...
It's Filion.
Filion. He said that Mothon comes around here, so I...
He does. Typically today. And if he's as routine as a most Soulforge are, he should be here pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's one of the only people that I know here, so I don't know where I should wait for him or where he would be at.
As he turns and he looks over towards his house that's currently adjacent to the fields. And you actually see Mothon walking around the corner, and as he does, you notice that he kind of knocks on the house. And as you hear the knock, you hear the old man go, Mothon! You're the Soulforge I needed to see. And as Mothon turns his head inquisitively and looks at both you and the old man,
I'm going to wave with my mushroom hand.
that's when we move back to the end of the whale. So, Kaz.
Yes.
Yeah. Show her a picture of a myconoid.
I'm like tofu. I'm like tofu in Resident Evil 2, running around with a knife. No legs, no arms, only hands. No face either.
All right. You, Claudia, Tinsel, and Mox have been pushing your way through this labyrinth of flesh, visceral tissue. You haven't come across any other of these strange, unusual crab creatures. And thankfully, you haven't seen any other giants. But, however, you notice that Claudia has stopped for a moment. And as she does, she raises her hand to kind of, do you all mind if we stop for a moment?
All right.
And you notice that she examines the ground and she stops, and you see her make her put her hand down, and she scoops up what looks like this yellow pus. It's like a big glob of what looks like snot or pus, mucus. You notice as she plops it and it hits the ground, you can see that there's swirls of green and yellow in it. This creature does not have natural anatomy, but I know one thing. Yellow and green pus is never a good sign. This creature is sick. It's got some sort of infection. If I had to guess, I would say we're somewhere... I'd say we're somewhere close to lower intestine, maybe?
Oh, well, that was disgusting, but if you're the expert here, I'm not entirely too sure. Hopefully we can find this queen, wherever she is.
As Tinsel kind of speaks up, yeah, what exactly do you think this queen is?
Well, according to this strange crustacean creature, it looks like me. So, Elven? Maybe?
Doesn't really seem like a place an elf would hang out now, does it?
No. Not entirely too sure what the story is here, but if there's civilization, we should find it.
You notice that this entire time Mox has kept their mouth closed. They haven't been saying anything until they finally speak up. I think we have something over here.
I'll walk over.
Notice that Mox moves up to this large, fleshy wall, and they pick up their mace, and you watch as they crush it into the wall. You can see it split, and the flesh tears away, almost like a sliding door. And as it slips back, you can see a new pathway open up. And as soon as you look through this pathway, you can actually see what look like strange constructed totems. They appear to be made out of driftwood and garbage and remnants of like bones and bodies. It is the first sign of signs of civilization since you've been in here.
Well, that's one way to find a pathway.
Mox points the mace.
Okay. Start walking forward. These totems, what do they look like?
They're probably about 4 feet tall. They appear to be multi-tiered, but each totem appears to have a face and then strange, like effigy-like claw arms that come out from them. They appear to be inanimate, and they appear to be bundled together with rope, twine, or fabric. They're very shoddily made. None of them are identical. They definitely tell these were loosely made with the materials that are at hand in here.
Further inspecting the totems, does it look like the carvings are carved with a blade?
Give me an inspection check.
Okay. Would you like just perception?
Or, no, investigation.
Investigation?
Yeah.
Okay. 19.
You're able to look at it, and you can tell that, no, none of these were modified before being put together. These are simply pieces found. It's almost like if you were to make a sculpture out of driftwood, not carving anything, just putting them together and tying them into a solid structure.
So it looks like they belong to ships.
Yeah, like pieces of ships. Looks like there's also articles of clothing, bones from long dead bodies.
Well, keep your wits about you. I'm not entirely too sure if these are decorative or a warning. Probably a warning.
You know, Smox moves over to them. They take their mace and push it over, and as they push it over, it falls and it crumbles. Well, it's not religious. No one would shoddily put together a religious totem like that.
That could be true, but there's also crab people that live here, so there's that.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I'm gonna push forward.
You notice that Mox turns back. How are you doing back there? Oh, me? No, I was talking to the floor you're standing on. Yeah, you. Oh, I'm doing great. I'm fine. Thumbs up. Have you ever been in a fight before? Me? Yeah, fight all the time. Okay, the thousands of times. I've fought a lot. Like when was the last time you fought? Yesterday. We were on the boat yesterday. Yeah, me and Fulner fought. We fight down in the, we've been trying to get Captain to get a fight pit for us. We get all sweaty and shirtless, and we really go at it. Claudia, you might want to reword how you say that, Tinsel. No, it's just, we, yeah. Can we keep going?
So that's what you and Fauna are doing off in your off times there. Just fooling around and getting sweaty and naked.
Just getting super hard with muscle. Lots of muscle, hard muscle.
I see. So is that your relation with Fauna?
You can see he's starting to, like, beads of sweat are starting to build up underneath the crown of his head. Yep, never met Fulner before we met on the boat. Don't know him.
The way I perceived it, though, is that you had history with Fauna.
Yeah, we, like, saw each other getting milk at the same place one time.
Where was that at?
It was at Gutterport.
Gutterport?
Yeah, we were both at Gutterport, saw each other, we waved, we didn't say anything.
You know, it's rather against pirate code to lie to your superiors. And I am your quartermaster.
Yeah. I may know him. I may know him just a little bit.
Just a little bit. From where?
He may grew up close to a village that I also was from.
So you're jealous, you know?
Halflings, very tight-knit communities, very...
Interesting. So you grew up near Fauna, so you must have heard of Fauna, and
I mean, you hear one Faulkner, you hear them all, right?
Kind of curious. What was Fauna like when he was younger?
We weren't really, we didn't really know each other. We weren't really like, we were like friends. I just, I'd heard stories.
Stories?
Smock's kind of, wow, you were really bad at this. Oh, man. Oh. Am I going to owe you two and the captain now?
You're the captain.
I keep letting the whole me and Fulner thing slip.
So there is history. I'm kind of curious.
Not like personal history. We just know. I know of him from his village. He's from Hillsfar.
Oh.
I'm from Greendale.
We may very much die down here. Sensei. So, it's better to die with a free conscience than one.
All right, I don't even know why he's so upset about it, or why he's trying to be so secretive about it. I guess I'll just... Fulner is kind of a legend in his village.
Really? Please do tell how Fauna is a legend.
He was like 6 and killed a giant.
Really?
Yeah. I wouldn't believe it, but apparently my grandma was there. She saw it.
You think a name like Fauna would carry some weight with being a giant killer?
I mean, I'm sure it does in Hillsfar. I mean, but no one else outside. Yeah, see, you don't know a lot about halflings, do you? We don't really like outsiders. Like family, very tight-knit communities, and it's hard for us to let other people in because we get taken advantage of because we're very hospitable, kind people, most of us. And so sometimes a 6-year-old kills a giant. You just don't want to tell people about that.
Well, I could say this. Fauna definitely lets people inside of him. I know from personal experience. But,
so he's already told you everything then?
It may be fuzzy on the details, but what do you mean?
Well, he told you about, he killed a giant, his name's Odo, and everything like that.
Odo? Now that's interesting.
Yeah, I think the Fulner is like an alias, so if people do know of him, or specifically other giants, because I mean, if the hill giants went back and they're like, hey, this Odo kid, he can kill us by screaming at us.
Oh. He must have skipped that part when we were laying in bed together.
Wait, what?
He is a very giving halfling. I will say that. He's very well fortified when it comes to
You know, as Mock kind of puts their hand up and stops and goes like, hey, when you two are done pillow talking back there, we actually have work up here.
slink back up to Mox.
Mox, as you make your way up to them. Two structures up ahead. Looks like maybe guard stations, an outpost of some kind. You can see up ahead there's a tucked just around your corner. You can see what looks like the an awning of some sort of structure. It's looming around the corner. On the other side, you can see what looks like a little bit more visible of a structure. You actually see movement moving on the upper end of it. It is about a story tall, and they do look like watchtowers almost.
I am going to cast something most likely. Let's see here. Why don't you three hang back? I'll go up ahead and scout. I'll return what I find.
Mox looks towards you. You sure?
I'm sure.
You got 5 minutes. You're not back. I'm coming in.
All right. I started walking up, and then as I walk up, I'm going to cast invisibility.
Okay. So, as you cast invisibility and you head forward, are you just going to walk straight up?
I'm still going to stay out of view as
Okay.
best as I can.
So go ahead and give me a stealth check.
Okay. That is going to be a 28.
28. Perfect. And then could you also go ahead and give me a... Actually, no. Is your passive perception 14?
It is, actually.
Okay.
Exactly 14.
Perfect. You just hit it. As you're getting ready to sneak up, you actually notice a trip line that's been strung across about 20 feet away from the guard stations. You would have missed it, but the only reason why you caught it is that whoever strung the trip line up was real sloppy with their work, and they left a bunch of fish scales on the string. There's actually, you saw the shimmer of the scale stuck to the twine.
All right. Can I see what it's hooked to?
Looks like it's hooked to an alarm system. Looks like there's piles of pieces of metal and wood. They're all chained together in a rope. Looks like if the string is tugged, then the all the metal and the pieces will start clanging and moving together.
Okay. So, keeping mind of the tripwire, I'm going to keep my eye out for any other signs of traps and still stay out of sight.
Do you want to disarm it, or do you just want to walk over it?
It would break my invisibility 1 minute.
What exactly breaks your invisibility? Is it attacking?
I believe it's combat.
Okay, it's not combat. You would just be cutting it.
Okay. I'm going to then cut it real quick.
All right, so all you need to do is just cut the twine, and as soon as you cut the twine, it falls flat, and you can walk right through. As you walk through, you now get a good clear image of both of the guard towers. You can see that there's one guard on each side, and they appear to be those same crustacean crab-like creatures that are moving basically in a clockwise round around the watchtower.
Okay. With my cloak equipped, I'm going to try to scale up the tower,
Okay.
and I want to get a good look what's on the other side of these. I'm assuming some sort of like gate or
Yeah. Basically, it is a bottleneck. So it's a bend, and it's positioned right in a bottleneck.
Okay.
Go ahead and give me a perception check then.
All right. 16.
16. As you position your way up and you actually look through this bottleneck opening, you can see what looks like a small little hamlet. You see these small little shacks and these shanties that are all put together in this patchwork-like manner. It looks like a slum, but here you are. You can clearly see life, activity. They're moving around, going about their daily life. You can actually see small, childlike, crab-like creatures moving around and playing in the center between the two homes. It is a very narrow, straight shot. On the other side of this straight shot, where all these shanties and shacks are, you can see it drops down into a low hill that seems to be descending, and you can see bright light coming from over that crest. So it does look like there is more if you go further.
Okay. What are the crustaceans armed with?
They look like they're armed with pikes. One of them's armed with looks like a spear. The other one looks like it's armed with a trident.
Okay. I'm going to circle back, and then I'm going to return to the group. Drop visibility.
As you return to the group, you notice that Tinsel's like they're talking to Claudia, like, you don't think I messed up, do you? Like, I don't think I messed up, but I feel like I might have messed up. And then Mox is just sitting there with a whetstone, sharpening each of the fledged mace.
I'm going to drop invisibility. Well, there's two guards. They are armed with pikes and spears, so no bow and arrows.
All right. So no range. So we what? Smash our way through?
Let's not lead with that. They did say the queen looks like me. And I'm assuming they probably have never seen a drow before.
All right. Sure. I'll bite. Tell you what. I'll let you take lead on this. We're all still new, and we're trying to figure out what our relationship thing is. I don't want to step on your toes, and letting you run this lets me see how you operate.
I operate rather smoothly, you can see. So, take the lead. Well, let's get going.
As Mox gets up, you notice that they take the blonde hair and the braids, and they pull it back, and they put it up into a bun on the back of their head. You can actually see the side of their face has pretty intense scorch marks and burns. The tip of their half-elven ear is actually severely damaged from this scarring. And you can actually see now there's even more scarring on the neck that disappears underneath the armor.
As we are pushing forward, I am going to also part my hair, but I'm going to part it over my ears so they're exposed.
Okay.
I want to make sure they're visible. And I'm going to just walk up cautiously, but with confidence.
Okay, so everyone's going?
Yes.
All right. You notice that Mox takes your right, Claudia and Tinsel behind you, and as you approach, that's when we move over to our captain. Captain, oh Captain.
She got her new crew.
You notice
I
that
don't need you guys anymore. I have
Talek has just finished, and the rest of the other broodlings have finished their bloodlust on their fellow broodling. They appear to be in a type of frenzy. They almost can't stop moving. It's like they're looking for something to do, looking for more. They tentatively seem to be waiting for a command as they move forward. You notice that Barry kind of makes his way over towards you, goes, Captain?
Yeah.
Like, what do we do if we get there and they just all go batshit?
I have this phrase I like to say, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Okay, all right.
Well, think about that right now. Right now, we have to find the rest of the crew.
Okay, so we gotta find Fulner, Lavender, Kaz,
And everyone else.
Claudia, Tinsel, and that Mox fella.
Is it a fella?
I don't know. I'll call everyone fella.
Where's Talek?
Talek seems to be leading the way. Is
So we're walking.
you guys are walking, following Talik, who appears to be taking you to their queen.
I'm going to speed walk up to Talik.
As Talik's going,
Talik, you're doing a lovely job of leading.
yes,
Yes, you're doing a great job. Where are you taking us right now?
to the queen, the false queen.
The false queen, alright.
We will feast upon her flesh.
Alright. Yeah, before that revolution happens, I'm gonna need all of my generals. I don't have a full team right now, so.
Generals?
Right, yeah, remember before we split up, there was another group of people that was with me.
Yes.
I kind of need them.
They are generals?
They're generals. They're my generals.
What do generals do?
They'll help instruct me in the best ways of leading this revolution.
They are hunters.
Right.
Hunt the giants. So we are going to kill the giants then.
Well, first we have to find my generals.
Find the hunters. Kill the giants. You notice that he turns back towards the other crab people.
I need a translator.
You notice that they stop and they go.
It's a weird crap noise.
And then they stop and they.
Sounds like the lead singer from Disturbed.
David Draven, crab person.
Confirmed. You're welcome.
You notice they stop and then they start to split up. And as they split up, you notice they start moving up to the walls. And they start putting their claws and their hands on. You watch as their faces and they have these mandibles that have these dangly, almost like squid-like prongs that come out of their mouth. You watch as they stick to the walls. As they start to move around, you notice that Marigold makes his way up with Barry and is like, can you please tell me what the fuck is happening?
Shh, let them do their thing.
The face fucking the walls. What?
Let them do their thing. We're trying to find the rest of the crew. They're helping me find the rest of the crew. Don't disturb them. It's an intricate dance they're doing right now, alright? So let it happen.
Fine. You notice that Bruka seems to be arguing with Taku, and as you start to overhear on it, Bruka seems to punch Taku in the arm, and you see him go, "Ow! Why'd you do that for?"
Hey. Stop flirting back there. I don't know what kind of violence.
Bruka turns and looks towards you. I'm sorry, Captain, but
I don't care.
Taku's trying to eat the crab people. I'm
I did it.
hungry.
Listen, I feel like if we start punching each other and fighting each other, it's gonna send them into another blood frenzy, and we don't want that, alright? Let's not do that right now. Did you see what they did to their friend?
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Where's Talik?
Talik seems to be on the wall as well.
Still on the wall?
Yep, they're still on the wall.
Alright, I'm just
So
gonna
everyone's
wait.
sort of stopped right here.
Just wait for them to do their thing.
You notice that about 2 minutes goes by before one of them pulls off the wall. And as they start to snap their claws, you notice that they all pop off at the same time. And they make their way over.
That's all I can think about now.
As they make their way over towards their main group, they all start to like sit and start to squawk and snap at each other. And as they do, you notice that Talik turns and looks towards you, makes his way over. Yes, we have found your friends.
Lovely. So, where are we going?
To the Queen.
Oh, wait, but how are we acquiring my hunters before we see the Queen?
Our friends are with the Queen. Most of them.
Most of them?
One is by himself in enemy territory. Too dangerous, can't go.
Do you know which one?
Small.
All right, say no more.
Footsteps. Very
And
tiny.
you mean giant territory?
Yes.
I guess we shouldn't disturb
The
that.
big meats.
Tell about the giants. On a scale of like 1 to 10, how bad is the feud?
I have fought the giants. My brood father fought the giant. His brood father fought the giants.
Okay.
His brood father fought the
A lot
giants.
of brood fathers.
His brood father fought the giants. His brood
I
father
get
fought
the
the
gist.
giants.
I get the gist. All right. So it's bad. It's like a 10, maybe 11.
We feast. Feast on the big flesh.
Okay. One more question for you. Why? Why is there this feud? What happened?
Queen has told us.
Why? Oh, she just says to start fighting them, and you just
They wish to kill the deep one.
the thing that we're in right now.
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever questioned that before? Like, why are we just fighting these giants without having any logical reason? Just because someone told us to.
Yes.
I mean, is there proof that they're trying to kill?
Proof?
Proof. Is there proof they're trying to kill the thing that we're in right
The
now?
queen has said so.
That's not proof. That's
What is proof?
blind devotion. Proof means seeing an example, seeing them in action.
They eat us.
Okay.
I see the giants feast upon us.
I thought maybe it's because you're warring with them.
They war with us. We war with them.
Alright, I'm beginning to see why it was so easy for me to get you to betray your queen. So we're talking about this revolution thing, right? You're kind of over the whole queen thing.
No queens.
Right, alright.
No masters.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Have you ever thought about maybe siding with the giants? I mean, I don't know about you, but giants and the word alone sounds like a very powerful ally.
Giant and broodling. I love it. Improbable.
It's like a robot having a
Alright, just
meltdown.
breathe. Whatever you do, maybe you don't breathe. Whatever you do, just relax. It's just a question. I don't understand the culture. All right. Maybe point those somewhere else too, and then not less in my face. That'd be great. Thanks.
Talik is confused on plan now. Do we revolt or find hunters or giant?
Oh, you said you found my friends. They're seeing the queen. They're on their way to see the queen.
Yes, queen with audience now.
All right. And you said the giant thing is improbable. You don't seem too thrilled with the giant idea.
They eat us.
Do you eat them?
Yes.
All right. So it's like a circle of life thing. You just kind of go back and forth.
Not
eating
much
each other.
food comes from the deep one. Not as much as was in past.
Huh? Well, think about all the food that will be available to you when you leave this thing. Right? Is that something you're interested in?
Food?
Food? Outside?
Outside.
Whole new food sources.
How get outside?
Well, you could probably get some assistance from those that are much bigger than you. Maybe.
Giants help.
It's possible.
Giants help get food.
Yeah. Going from being food to getting food.
You know, so they all the crab people start to look at each other. They all stop and they kind of look towards you. Simultaneously, they shift.
Oh, okay.
We get giant. Giant help. Kill Deep One. Free Deep One. Deep One ultimate master. No masters.
I like that plan. Yes, let's do that.
You notice that one of the crab people turns and starts going, "Ah!" and moves over to the wall and just starts stabbing it. and you notice Talek stops like, "Ah!" It pulls its claws out and just, as you can tell, it doesn't really do any damage. It's just, this creature's far too large for that to actually affect it. But you see that the creature like slowly makes its way back over. You notice that Talek takes his hand and hits it on top of the other one's head. Talek then looks back towards you. I take you now to Giant.
Yes. Not as like a big group though, maybe just you and me, and the others can kind of hang back out of view. I feel like if you're bringing a big group,
You notice
that's
that
an attack.
Barry and Marigold make their way up. Captain, how about we take some of these broodlings and we go find the queen and get our people from there out of there in case they're in trouble.
Oh yeah, hey Dalek, can you make sure that your men here act like everything's normal until we get the giant thing under control?
What am normal?
Don't kill the queen right now. We need a solid plan first. So if they're gonna go back right now, kind of act like things are normal. Just don't kill the queen. Just don't do that right now.
Looks towards the other ones. You notice that the three of them turn and look towards the pathway you guys were walking, and they start to head that way. Barry and Marigold like, oh, all right. Well, I guess that's our cue, Captain. Stay safe. Where should we rendezvous back? Back to the ship?
Preferably, if it's still there.
All right. We'll see you there. You notice that your whole crew takes off, leaving just you and Talek and one other crab person walking in a totally different direction now from the rest of your crew. And that, we're going to switch over to Folner. Folner, when we last left off, you ran into somebody.
Oh, dude.
Who exactly did you run into?
I believe I ran into a sea giant. I don't believe I got his name.
You did not. You and this sea giant have been walking for about 20 minutes until you come up to what looks like a wall filled with ridges. Almost like, think about what the inside of a throat would look like, where it just has deep grooves and flesh ridges all the way up this wall. You notice that the giant looks down towards you. Hold on. You see, he reaches down, he grabs you by the back, and you notice he picks you up and holds you in his hand as he starts climbing up this ridged wall. You notice that he slips you into this little pouch that's on his side. It's looks like a bag that's made out of several strips of leather and old ship sails. As it starts to climb and get to the top, and as it gets to the top and it stands up, you get a good view of what you see before you. Appears to be some sort of large, massive room filled with what looks like a city. The city appears to have multiple buildings and structures that are built very high up. And they're actually made with what looks like stone and bone and driftwood. The most shocking thing about this room, however, is the far wall. Because what you see on the other side, you kind of have a moment of, oh shit. That far wall, you can see through it. And all you see is the deep blue ocean as you realize that this city is inside the eyeball.
That is metal. What do you call this place?
Welcome to Far Blue.
How many giants live here?
Not many. We are dying. But it is our duty to protect this creature. Come with me. He continues to walk, as he pulls you out of the bag and sets you back down on the ground. Walk down this large valley. And as you walk down this valley, you come into what looks like a bazaar. You can see what looks like a small circular area where there should be more life, there should be more activity, but it's actually scarce. The streets are eerily dead. There's no people. You don't see any activity. And as you pass through this bazaar, you come into a hill that winds up to this large structure. This appears to be the biggest structure that's in the actual city. This structure appears to be inside of what looks like a massive clamshell, or at least the front entrance of it. On the back of it, you can see what looked like multiple man-o-wars. Probably about 5 to 7 man-o-wars stacked on top of each other, creating this jettison of jagged sail masts and posts pointing out almost like this porcupine ball of ships. You notice that this individual makes his way up to the shell and boom, 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 slams 3 times in the shell. You notice the shell begins to open up, and as it opens up, you can see the inside's completely hollowed out, and it's a pathway into this labyrinth of ships. Notice that the giant bends over, walks in. You follow? Mm-hmm. As you follow, you make your way in, and you see the first signs of other giants. And the image you see, you've seen homeless. You've seen people stricken by poverty. But you've actually never seen war. You've never seen the aftermath. You've never seen the afflictions, the atrocities that can happen to a race, to a people, to a society when they're afflicted with such devastation, such brutality, such carnage. You don't see proud, noble giants standing a guard. You see giants huddled together, kneeling down, holding each other. They don't seem aggressive. They seem desperate. You finally make your way to the end of this large room. And as what looks like a ship that's actually faced up with the bow of the ship down into the ground. Looks like they've made a doorway out of the frame of a ship. And you pass through into this large chamber. Inside this chamber, you can see There appears to be a small hovel of giants sitting around a circular room, almost like if you were to imagine a circus tent, like inside of a circus tent. The other side, you can see there appears to be a large, massive throne that appears to be made out of parts of ships and 2 massive anchors set on each side. You see this rather old-looking sea giant stand up. You see that the skin on his shoulders appears to look almost like shimmering fish scales, large seaweed-like beard. His hair looks damp and moist. Only thing he's wearing appears to be this, looks like fish nets over his chest, and appears to be sails wrapped around his waist like a
Okay.
what's the toga? Like a toga, sorry. Do you approach?
I do. Well, actually, I wait for my giant friend to
Okay.
approach for me.
As your giant friend approaches, they place their knee down and bow their head before this old sea giant.
I do so.
My liege, I bring to you an outsider, someone who can help us with our plight against the Queen. And what does someone so small think they can do to help us?
As the giant stops and...
My liege, he is a tide speaker. Tide speaker. There has not been a tide speaker in more than a millennia.
While he's saying that, I pull out the conch and I blow into it.
She's gonna blow into it right now? Mm-hmm. Give me a D100 roll.
Didn't that cause it?
No. $95.
Okay. You notice that as you pick it up and you blow into it, this low hum begins to play out of the shell as it begins to reverberate and around the walls of the ship. Every time you've played this shell, you're getting more and more used to it, more and more accustomed to it. And as you finally stop when you get done playing it, as you open your eyes, you see that everyone in the room's eyes are wide open. All eyes are now turned on you. Even the king appears to have put one hand onto the side of his throne and looks as though he almost stood up. He looks towards the giant that escorted you.
Have a seat, so I may talk to this outsider. Come forward.
Step forward.
How did you come to possess an item like that?
It was sent to me. I'm not exactly sure where it came from.
How can you use it?
As I told, and I gestured to the other giant. As I told him, I believe I'm Giantkin.
You hear small whispers and laughs around the room, and as soon as they happen, you hear the king
Silence!
He stands up.
You are all too young to know the tales. To know. But there are legends of our people.
You notice he points towards another giant.
You, bring me the soothsayer.
Yes, the giant nods its head and stands up. As the giant stands up, King gets off of his throne and begins to step down towards you. He almost towers right over you, looking straight down.
Such a small, little thing.
He almost seems puzzled, lost for words as he stares at you. And a moment later, you notice another giant enters with the same giant that was just left to fetch someone. You see an elderly female giant. She seems to be hunched over. She's covered in rags and robes. You see bones and a chain of nautical or ship wheels, the steering wheel to the ship. You see she has a necklace made of those wrapped around her neck. Are you the one? Yes. Yes, I can see it.
What do you see, soothsayer?
I see many things, but today I see something special. Clear this room.
Everyone, back up!
Even you, boy. Move aside.
I'll move.
You notice that she lays down on the ground. You notice that she pulls this tarp from her hand and she throws it out like a blanket. And she throws it out from a blanket. You see her reach into her deep pockets and she pulls out what looks like handful of bones. She starts to shake them. She throws them onto the carpet. And as she throws them onto the carpet, Mara, you hear her start to speak in giant. You start to recognize it, but again, it is that awkward old giant. It almost sounds like the old English compared to English. She begins to speak. Bones of old, days of past, blood to blood, flesh to flesh. I call upon the spirits. Bring forth our ancestors so they may guide our hand. You notice that she picks up one bone. As the king giant speaks up.
What is it? What is it? What bone is it?
It is the bone. Son of Anam! Son of Anam! As she holds it, you hear the entire crowd start to gasp.
That cannot be. No. It must be wrong.
Then you, as a king, must accept the misfortune that the spirits will bring. They have told me it is the son of Anam. The king sits quiet for a moment.
Then the spirits we shall listen to.
He moves back over towards his throne and sits down.
Tell him. Soothsayer, tell him the tales.
You believe yourself to be of giant kind.
I'll do.
Do you practice Mot and Mog?
I do.
Do you wish to find yourself Mot?
I do.
Then you know of the war. You know of the tales between the dragons and giants.
I do.
Our people. We were on the front line. The mighty and proud sea giants. We took the fight to them. While the stone and the hills hid beneath us. We were the first to draw blood, but we were the first to lose many. Out of fear of annihilation, and the rest of our kind not willing to help us. We fled to safety, here, inside. And for as long as the war has gone, we stay until the war is over.
The war is over now.
You hear whispers start to go throughout the room again.
Enough! You say the war is over.
Well, there's no winner. It's more of a truce.
Winner? A truce. A truce proclaimed by who?
Autumn.
Arnhem.
You know, so as soon as he says autumn, everyone just goes, oh, Father.
Then if there is no war, then who leads Estonia?
Storia is no more.
What do you mean the great city is no more?
Autumn is no longer on this plane. There was a prophecy. This happened many years ago, but it is said once all the giants bow down to a king, Autumn will return. But giants, the different ordinance, they don't want to bow down to anyone. They all think they're better than everyone else. The last one that tried claimed to be a son of Autumn. His name was Hawk Killer.
Yes, that.
I know the tale. Because I was there.
I was told that I'm a descendant of Hawk Killer.
He looks towards the soothsayer. The bones say you are.
And can these bones be wrong?
If you are willing to accept what the spirits will give you in return.
Then the crown must be forged. The crown of rain. A rain through blood of a Nam. This mighty beast has given us sanctuary. But it is dying. It cannot sustain us, not with her in here. The crown can only be forged if made from a piece of every king, of every giant in the Ordering.
You notice that he moves over towards his weapon. You see him snap off a piece of the trident. And he throws it on the ground. And it sticks.
My piece to the crown. If you will save this beast,
I will. What is she doing to it?
this creature is ancient. It is primordial. It is one of the great primordial beasts. Do you know why we have the elements at our power? Why every giant belongs to the Ordinary?
I suspect it has to do with these primordials.
When we first started our war with the giants, we were not strong enough. We lacked the fortitude to deal with their breath. So each giant gave its pledge and blood to a primordial spirit, infusing our very essence with nature itself. The fires would deal with the reds, and so on, and so on. This beast harness great powers over the sea. If the creature dies, and she takes the runes that are embedded in it, she will control the ocean itself.
Then she must be stopped.
You notice he steps up, takes a step off of his throne, walks up towards you. And you see him put his knee down. You see him bow his head towards you.
Then I, King Rhymebeard, offer my service to you. Proclaim your name in my court.
I am Fauna Wildheart.
Then hereby, on this day, until my last day, the sea giants, a liege with their clan Wildheart.
You notice the giants all kind of,
Oh!
and you see as they slam their chest, another one comes into the room as this is happening. You see that they,
My liege, intruders at the compound, outsiders with only 2 broodlings. I don't know what it could be. It can't be an attack, it would be suicide. Then deal with them. Or, better yet, Wildheart, go forth and crush our enemies.
There's a chance they might be with Clan Wildheart. I did arrive with others, but let me see first. If they don't belong here, I will crush them.
Very well.
I do all. Then turn around and walk away.
Right. As you turn and walk away, you notice that each of the giants slams against their chests as you make your way out.
I walk a little bit taller. Yeah, real often, right?
As you make your way out, you notice that the road is clear. And you see two giants that are guarding the entrance. And up ahead, you can see they have their weapons and their spears pointed down towards the outsiders that are approaching. And what you see appears to be Jezebel and two broodlings walking up to the camp.
I'm just looking at like their spears, like that's a very nice spears. That's a narwhal bone, shiny, beautifully carved. Love it.
Got him.
Fallen.
It's buddy.
Why are you roaming? Why are you back there and you're roaming around by yourself?
Well,
Why are they pointing these things at you?
maybe we should talk privately.
All right, can you?
Yeah, let's bring your friends over.
You notice that Talik and the other broodlings seem to be looking at the giants.
I eat you!
Stop! Stop! Stop!
You say they
Did you already forget why we're here? No. We're gonna play a game, all right? Take these. See how long you can keep them closed, all right? Just. Yeah, you almost there. You almost have it. Good job.
So some things happen. Well, these giants. There's not many of them. This is where they live.
Good.
But they think I'm king. They believe I'm king.
The king of what exactly?
King, of the giants.
King of the giants. That's the
Right.
thing.
Right.
They think you're their king.
I know how it sounds. And I'm
You're
going
the size of their thumb.
listen, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. When I left Newtown, where I grew up, you already know that I was told that I was giant king. I wasn't entirely truthful with you. I was also told I was a descendant of the last giant king.
They bought that.
Well,
Is that what you told them?
Well, turns out, I had me doubts too a little bit because it was coming from your grandfather, but turns out they have a stormaz in here. It's a kind of a priest, but they did a reading and it turns out I have
A reading? With what?
with bones, and well, it turns out that I am a descendant of Anum Allfather, the giant, the god of giants.
What are the giants doing right now? They're still standing guard.
Yeah.
I'm not talking loud enough for them to hear, but you should know. I found out there is a story or a prophecy, I guess, that if the giants were to ever all bow down to one king, Anna would return to this plane.
Right. So what's happening here? Right? Maybe-
So right now, and the reason why this is such a big deal, and it's kind of even harder to believe, Hot Killer wasn't exactly a giant. He was tall for a regular folk like you or Kaz or Lavender, but giants, they really respect height, and so you can imagine getting so far removed. I'm smaller.
So they really respect height, and they think you're a king, a giant king.
This to them, the spirits told them I'm definitely them. They have charged me. And listen, I know it sounds ridiculous, but They've charged me on saving this creature that we're in. This is a primordial.
Let's repeat that.
This is a primordial
No, because probably you said.
saving this creature
Oh.
because
Oh.
the queen,
Awkward.
the queen is trying to kill it.
Oh, is that so? Because apparently that's what she told Crabby Hands back there. She's been telling them the giants are trying to kill.
I don't doubt that's what she told him. But I just came from up there, and they're desperate. They're desperate people. There's not many of them.
Oh, interesting. Alright.
So
Okay. Alright.
hold on. She is somehow, I don't know how, but she is somehow killing this creature because it holds magic power over the seas within it.
Ah, you're dumping a lot of information on me
I
right
know,
now.
but
Lot of
and there's
names.
more.
Okay.
There's more.
Good.
They said if I can keep this creature from getting killed, maybe end the queen's reign or whatever she's trying to do, then they'll give me my first step on this giant king,
Well, it's funny you should
and
say
they would
that.
ally with us.
Yeah, I know. It's funny you should say that because Taluk and I are actually here to talk about an alliance with the giants. Them. And them.
How many do you have?
Taluk, can you count?
Tyler looks back over towards you.
How many men do you have? Just let loose. Go down.
Thousands.
With the giants, us, and the Broodlands, we might have a chance with this.
Right. So did you happen to ask any information about the queen? Like, what is she? Maybe. How powerful is she? Things like that.
I'm not
haven't asked
exactly. I didn't ask them exactly that, but
All right. Well, why don't
she must be powerful enough to not die from a war.
All right. Well, why don't you have your friends here drop the spears and maybe we can go inside and mull over.
Sure. Tolop, you might want to be on your best behavior in here.
Yes.
Or turn to the other giants. They're with me.
Hey. Move off to the side.
Well,
And as you two go in, move back over to Chen. Lavende.
I'm just waving.
I apologize. We got a three-way party. We had a four-way party split there for a second. Okay. You notice that Mothon makes his way over. And as Mothon makes his way over, he approaches the elderly individual. Remy, how are you?
Well, could be better, but I have someone who was looking for you.
He looks over towards. I'm sorry, I do not think I believe I know a myconoid.
Mutan, it is Lavende.
As he straightens up, he stops, and you see his glass eyes almost kind of spin and zoom as they look at you and start eyeing you up and down. You can see that pulsing blue energy in the back of his glass-like skull seems to start brightening and glowing. Oh dear.
I would agree. Oh dear. This is new, by the way. It is not something that I'm...
Come with me.
Okay, no.
He grabs your hand and he starts walking.
Where are we going? What?
You notice that as you walk away, the old man waves towards you. Farewell!
Bye?
And as you pass the other field, right, if you ever feel like you want to do another field, come back and see me.
I'm not going to do that.
And you follow Mothon past this farm, down this hill, and you make your way up what looks like a spire just outside of town. It's this long, all beautiful looking spire. The artwork, the architecture is immaculate, it's pristine, it's glorious. And you remember the nights upon nights upon nights that you would stare into the beautiful glowing lights of this city. You never dreamed that you'd actually be being pulled into one, hand in hand. See, he approached this tower and he opens it up. Come on, inside!
What are we doing? You're kind
Get in! He starts shoving you from the
I'm
back
going to
as your head
put-
kind of folds and fits through the door.
Let me try to fit in first.
You're not going to. He turns around to his back and he starts pushing this like,
I'm going to like grab the inside of the door and
and you pops in and it fans out as soon as you get in. He moves in. He shuts the door. How many people saw you?
I don't know. Just
How many people did you tell was Lavende?
nobody. I just said that I was. That I
You said it in front of Remy.
I guess that's true.
Okay,
I said that.
that's fine. I'll erase his memory later.
You're going to do
You
what?
sit down. Sit down.
But you need to. Why are you panicking?
Why did you tell me
Tell you what?
what you are?
I didn't know. I just told you this is new to me, and you're panicking, and it's kind of making me want to panic a little bit. Is that bad? I don't know what this is. It literally just happened.
Wait, you mean you didn't do this intentionally?
No, it literally just happened. And also, I didn't come here intentionally.
One moment. He stops, he turns, he moves over to one of his books.
Does this have something to do with Zakmoy?
No, unfortunately not. That would make things more simple. This is
More simple.
far more complicated.
Well, I know that she's like a demon lord or something. How is it not more complicated?
Because you are not human.
That is not true. I don't. What do you mean? All I know is that I had my heart removed, and there's like a seed in there or something.
You said your heart's been removed.
That was what I've been told.
Lay down on the table.
Last
See,
time,
there's a table, and there appears to be a. It's almost like a chiropractor's table, except it's a flat bench.
last time I laid down on the table, I was put to sleep and then opened up, and then told I had a seed in my chest. What are we doing? You need to slow down, please.
All right. Sorry. I understand that some organics require more information before proceeding.
It's a lot of stuff to process.
I do not believe you are human. I believe that you are another entity, a species that is from the Feywild.
What do you mean?
Perhaps there is a way that you evolved? No, that's impossible. You were born a human. You came in here
Yes.
human. Which means that maybe that is possible. That... I don't know. But I have an idea.
Do I need to lay down still?
If you would like.
What are you going to do to me?
Well, I promise you I'm not going to open up your chest.
Oh, that's all you have to say. I'm not going to lay down. You could have just said it. You're not going to.
He moves over to another book. Now, this Zucht boy business. How do you know about her?
I've just been kind of trying to figure things out on my own. I talked to somebody in Neve when we were there.
So you've been doing your research.
Trying. Well, once I found out I didn't have a heart, I kind of thought it'd be good to try to figure things out on what that is about.
As he moves over to your chest and he starts to cast a spell, and you see it start to glow green. This seed is not from the Feywild, and it's not from the material plane. Which means, if you said Zuchtmoy,
Yes, that is what I was told.
it must be an abyssal seed.
This is the second time I've heard that.
And that could have remnants of Tanari. Are you aware of the Tanari?
This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
The Tanari were a race. They were a species. No one is quite sure how. It's probably long before history was ever recorded. But they essentially became demons. They were the first ones to fall into the abyss. Now, legends say the Tanari also tried to flee to the Feywild to escape the destruction of their world. These Tanari, well, their bodies reacted differently than the abyss. Clearly. Said that these Tanari became Feylings. They became the first occupants of the Feywild, when it was just pure chaotic madness, all brought together by a beautiful cosmic disarray of pure, unadulterated creation. Now, I have never done this. This
what?
may be a little awkward.
What are you going to do to me?
I'm going to try to turn you back into what you are.
So I'm going to go back to hair and...
You will not be a mushroom, most likely.
That is probably a good thing, because only one time my friends saw me like this. I don't know if they would like it.
All right. This may hurt.
Whatever can help.
Okay. As he brings this cube device out, you watch as he turns it like a Rubik's Cube. As he does, you see this small little vial comes out of it. Okay. And as he pops the cork off of it, you watch as like a spray of rainbow-like color and flowers and vines and just pure raw creation. Okay. This is Feywild Mana. It is the most unstable element in all of existence. In itself is pure chaos. Some would even say that it is literally the lifeblood of the primordials.
Is it like the stuff back on in the other place? Like, we kind of...
Well, yes, it's like the mana back on the material plane, but on hallucinogens. Times 7.
Ooh, that is not good.
I'm going to need you to drink this.
I saw what that does to the sky. I don't know if I want to drink that.
Okay. We'll do a test. I am, after all, a soul forge of science. Your finger, please.
Do I have fingers? I don't even know.
Yeah, you have big, stubby, mushroom-like digits.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to, like...
Grabs the vial, he puts it on your finger over the top opening, and he just goes real fast. Okay. Anything?
Do I feel...
You look at your finger and you watch as the brown starts to strip away and you see pink flesh underneath.
This kind of looks like what I should look like.
Can I see that? Okay, fine. No extra digits, no scales, nothing? Any sort of strange mutations happening?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, that confirms my concept there. This is raw chaos. And you just touched it. If I was to touch raw chaos, it would begin to change me immediately into something very different. Sometimes not even functionably living. I need you to drink this.
I'm going to grab it. I'm drink it.
And as you knock it back, you feel that liquid go down your stomach into the esophagus, and it feels like you feel this bloom of flowers and growth. And this warmth goes over your body, and you start to feel yourself getting heavy and falling backwards. And as you go to fall back onto the table, you feel yourself falling through the air. You are now free falling somewhere thousands of feet up in the air. And as you spin around, you see yourself moving at a high speed towards an ocean. And as you move and you smash into the ocean, it actually is like shattering through glass. And as you break through the glass, you begin to slow down, and the glass shards seem to move and spin around you. You see reflections. You see colors and life and images. You see your friends, memories, wildlife, all these different realities, all of them swirling around you in these broken shards of glass. And as you reach out and touch one, you see ripples like mercury moving through them. And you watch as the glass begins to and slice through your mushroom, ripping off the top of your head. You see it slice away your ribs. You see it slice away at your hands. And you see that skin pink flesh being revealed underneath. And as it slices away, mirror after mirror after mirror after mirror, you see your form start to come through. Now your orange hair long and flowing all the way down to your butt. You see yourself completely nude. As you look at your hands, though, you see your hands are longer, more elongated, more dainty looking. You look at your arm, you see that glowing sparkle from the Feywild. It's now moved over to your chest and onto your other arm. You watch as the pattern looks like it's all throughout your skin now. You even feel the lines going up onto your throat, and you can feel them onto the sides of your face and your forehead. And as you finally come, and all of these mirrors are now gone, disappeared. That blackness begins to brighten, and a small pinhole of light begins to get wider and wider and wider as you move towards the light. And as you break through the light, your eyes open up, and you find yourself laying in Mothon's lap. You see Mothon across the room. Eyes, well, they don't really get any wider, but they're very bright with the energy in his head. And you see him up against the wall. You look around the room and you see the entire room is filled with nothing but plants. It grew over the table. It grew over the walls. The windows are covered in ivy. Everything around you is filled. You even looks as though you created life as moths and butterflies are flying around the room.
What is this? I'm going to look at my hands. They're still sparkling.
You're failing.
How is that possible?
He grabs the mirror and he gives you a mirror.
I'm going to take it.
And as you look at your face, you can see clearly you don't look too different than a human. But it is very obvious that you are no longer human. And whatever you have now turned into is what your true form has been.
I'm confused. What does that mean about everything before? When I first came here, I don't understand. I don't understand any of this.
This may sound strange, but I think I might be the perfect person to understand what you're going through. Lavende, being alive, being born, it's not where you're from. It's not who your parents were. After all, I don't have parents. I could have been made anywhere. If you made me in Venalia, I would be of Venalia. If you made me in Aronia, I would be an Aronian. Maybe it's not so much the location or the who. Maybe it's what has always been inside you the whole time. Maybe your soul is closer to the Feywild than you think it is.
So do I can come here the way that you showed me? No, I tried to do that again, and that is when I think I saw Zugmoy. That's why I've been trying to explain to people what she looked like. Because a lot of this stuff hasn't been making sense, and I haven't had a chance to even slow down really to grasp it, and now this doesn't help much.
I'll tell you this. I think we can help each other. Believe it or not, and I don't want to throw this on you at this moment, but the Feywild is in danger, and it's dying. I know you lived in the forest. Did you ever venture past the bog?
Never really had the need to.
Past the blight?
Never had the need to. What is beyond there?
As he moves over and he opens up the window and you can see that black sun in the sky. During the day, the black sun rises. At night, it turns into a black moon. It arrived not too long ago, shortly after you left. Ever since then, Princess Winifred hasn't been seen, and the king and queen won't... Well, they're not saying anything. They assure us that she's safe within the castle, but I have a feeling that the royal family is afraid that they can't stop this blight.
How can I hope? I'm a nobody, really. Even with this.
I have a feeling that whatever that thing is in the sky, it's causing the blight to spread. When it started to rise, the blight broke its boundaries. It's far surpassed the bog now. Who knows how long it will take before it makes its way to the kingdom. Lavende, I beg of you, in your travels back to the material plane, find what that sun and moon are, so that we may stop it here.
Do whatever I can.
It must have a counterpart in the material plane. It is a black sun and a black moon. As far as I know, there is no star chart or constellation that matches that formation or that size. Give you this. Hands you a ring.
Take it. What is this?
That ring will bring you back to my spire whenever you need to speak with me.
Go ahead and slide it on my finger.
Just be careful with it. It is created with Fey magic, and thus it can act chaotically on the material plane if you abuse it, use it too much, or use it around a lot of mana. So be mindful of that.
don't want to. Been there, done that already. Not during, obviously.
The ring is known as a dream portal. You can only access the spell while you're sleeping.
How do I know that I access it then? Do I just...
When you go to sleep, think of the place you want to go. Dream of it. The ring will take you there.
Anywhere?
Yes. As long as you've been there.
That could be really useful. Motan, did you know that my sister was alive?
I didn't know you had a sister.
I didn't know I still had one. That makes sense.
I'm sorry, after you disappeared as a young boy, everyone assumed you were dead. We didn't look into your family.
I don't blame you, really. You know, not like everyone else here, so I don't blame you.
When you're ready to go back, just lay on the table and get some sleep.
Thank you.
And with that, we move back over to Kaz. Kaz, as you approach the guards, they actually were rather delighted to see you. You saw them get ecstatic. You saw them get excited. As they move towards you, they seem to lower their weapons. And as they do, Queen wishes to speak with you.
Oh, splendid. Oh? What are we waiting for? The other way.
They turn and they start to escort you through this shanty town, down this valley, into this large cauldron-like city. As you make your way down, you actually see right next to the city, you get a full, clear view of it. It looks as though the palace has been built, stuck and wedged in between the large, massive, beating heart of this creature. You can see its spire is piercing up through its arteries. You actually see it, the heart looks like as though it's bleeding. You see large magical runes that are also jabbed into the heart. You see this green energy pulsing and seems to be pulsing with every single beat of the heart. As you make your way towards it, the construction of the actual palace looks unlike anything else in here. It is not made of shipwreck. It is not made of bone or rubbish or discarded items. It is made of steel. It at least looks to be made of solid steel or iron. It looks like a fortress. Rather intimidating one, too. It definitely does not have a welcoming appearance. You're led through these iron gates as you make your way forward. You see that Tinsel's kind of like awkwardly waving at the crab people as they kind of snap at people. You see Mox kind of look over towards you. I have a bad feeling about this.
No, it's probably gonna be bad, but it's better than, well, being digested by stomach acid.
As you make your way into this large room, as you work your way through this castle, you come into what looks like a throne room. On the throne room, you see a rather large, massive crab, like a legitimate giant crab. appears to be alive. It's as soon as you come in, you watch as it stands up, its arms outstretch, and its hands come forward, snap at you. You see on top of it appears to be this bedding. It almost looks like someone has built a. If you think about the scene from Dracula, think about the scene where Harker was laying in the bed with all of the brides. It looks like that on top of the crab. You see the form of a figure weaving in and out underneath these blankets and sheet before you see this long hair start to appear and merge up out of it. You see these horns rising up and these long piercing these long ears and these piercing eyes staring down at you. You see the skin color looks very similar to yours, actually. The hair, however, is black. Her eyes are amber and fiery. You see as she brings her legs out, you see this devilish-like tail whip its way out. And as she crosses her legs, oh good, guess.
I bow and
Such manners in front of a queen.
of course. I'm always respectful in front of royalty.
You notice that Mox, you kind of get this side glance on Mox, and Mox is just dead eye staring you. Give me a perception check.
Okay.
Or actually, you can give me a knowledge arcana.
Knowledge arcana. 14.
You recognize this is either a demon or a devil. This is not a mortal.
All right. Well, sorry, My Highness, do you have a name I could address you by?
Oh, right down to business, are we? I guess that's rather like you, isn't it? A Coravane. And that's where we're gonna end tonight.
I was like, when she said, good in front of a queen, I was hoping you'd go, well, I'm Chlorophyll. I'm a king myself.
All right, guys.
All this tea going on.
So, thank you guys all for joining on episode 40, Belly of the Beast. Next episode is going to be episode 41, Belly of the Beast, Act 2. So,
We'll be going dark
dude.
tomorrow and Tuesday. Will be no streams.
Think
We're going
about
to be
it.
catching up on some work for the rebrand for the new year.
and
This is
working
what
on some
I thought.
videos. We're going to be making
Yes,
some
we're
videos tomorrow.
filming tomorrow, so that will be on the vlog. We'll be vlogging that, so for Patreon.
All right, guys. You all have a great night. And hopefully, if you guys celebrate the holidays, happy holidays. And, of
Happy
course,
New Year.
everyone be safe on the New Year's.
Yes.
And we will see you when we come back next Sunday.
Wear your
Thank you all.
masks.
And
Apart.
good night.